Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Jennifer. We are a middle-aged couple with a Regal Unlimited subscription and a deep desire for movie theater popcorn.
So much for movie theater popcorn that we didn't go to the Regal Theater tonight.
We did. We cheated.
We cheated again. We went to Kew Garden Cinemas.
Mm-hmm. Which, if they had a subscription plan, I would be there all the time.
They got great popcorn.
They have the best popcorn. Well, they have the second best popcorn. Alamo has the best popcorn, but yeah.
And we saw a movie.
We did. Oh, yeah. We saw Highest to Lowest.
The new Spike Lee movie.
Mm-hmm.
Were you a big Spike Lee fan?
I wouldn't say I'm a huge Spike Lee fan. I've seen, what have I seen? Do the Right Thing, School Days, Clockers,
Okay.
Inside Man,
Malcolm
X.
Have you seen She's Gotta Have It?
She's Gotta Have It. Yeah, I think I've missed some.
You may have seen more than I have, but
yeah.
I was a big Spike Lee fan in the 90s. Especially starting with Do the Right Thing, which I thought was just one of the most amazing movies I'd ever seen. It has so much energy and verve, and it is incredible music, and the performances are often bizarre, but they're all memorable. It's just such a wild piece of cinema, and it defined a generation. And I'd very much like to say that Spike Lee is still a great director. I don't remember the last movie of his I saw that I liked.
Inside Man. That's a
really,
really good movie.
I gotta check this out now.
And yeah, this movie is not Inside Man.
Okay. So we didn't like this movie. That being said, I mean, there's a lot to like about it.
Yes.
It is beautiful, of course. It's lushly filmed.
Almost too much, right?
Almost
There are so many scenes of Dumbo in downtown Brooklyn, lots and lots of visuals, lots of drone footage of New York, of Manhattan, of the Bronx. Although I guess it's a very Brooklyn view of the Bronx, because the Bronx is basically Yankee Stadium in its immediate vicinity, which even I know the Bronx is bigger than that, even though that's about all I've seen of the Bronx. I know there's more to it. And so there's this ton of visuals, but yeah, it went on too long. All the visuals.
But I'm saying there are things to like about
it.
It's got this lush visuals. It's got an incredible cast. Where it counts.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 good actors in this movie, and they are on the screen most of the time.
Who are you saying is the third?
Jeffrey Wright.
Who are you saying is the second?
I don't know. Mayhem. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe
No. I think I
was going to say A$AP Rocky.
Me too. Yes. I just.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I just was surprised that you would say that.
Okay. No, I think he's great. I think he's exactly what he needs to be for this movie, and he is just loathsome, but he's supposed to be. And yeah, he's the bad guy.
Sort of.
Well, so anyway, it's got some incredible music. It's got long, lingering shots of Basquiat paintings. It's got
much of an incredibly lush, ridiculous apartment in Dumbo that has amazing classic black artwork. The offices of Denzel Washington as well. Like, just, yeah, it's this real lushness to these physical spaces. And the movie is not really about those physical spaces at all.
It's got some good jokes.
It does.
It has some very good script writing in 1 or 2 scenes.
In some scenes.
There are a lot of clunky scenes, that is true, but I'm trying to focus on the positives here.
Okay.
And it's got one incredible sequence that is ruined for me, but I think just for me, and I'll get to that. But this is a ransom movie, and the handoff of the ransom money is this incredibly choreographed sequence that is incredibly well shot.
Yeah.
And paced, and is just super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And very suspenseful, and uses Denzel Washington to the absolute best of his ability as an action star, and everything else. And I think the sequence at the end where he's in the basement,
Yes,
that was really
that's the
tense.
best part of the movie.
That was very, very
it's
tense.
tense, and then when he gets to where he's going in the basement, that is the best dialogue in the movie
That's
as
the
well.
best dialogue in the movie.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that
the best
scene
yeah.
makes the movie. But
that being said,
that
yes.
scene is 4 minutes long,
Yeah.
and the movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes. Like
That's all. I think it's like longer than that.
It's too long.
Longer.
Is the point?
It felt longer than that.
It's too long.
There are some real boring stretches of this movie, and it is unfortunate. There's a sequence in the middle of the movie where Denzel Washington is just told, act a lot. Just do a lot of acting, and we'll keep doing more and more scenes of you doing a lot of acting about the same damn thing over and over, and you have this difficult decision to make. So let's just watch you suffer and sweat over this decision for, I think, 25 minutes. And then come to the conclusion at the end that everybody absolutely knows you're going to come to.
That you have to, because otherwise you are the most evil person in the universe, and the movie ends.
And the movie just ends. So, yes, it is. That section is just incredibly boring. The huge action set piece that I said was great is ruined by the fact that, hey, I don't know if you know this, Spike Lee likes baseball. He likes the Yankees. Does not like Boston. Does not approve of the Boston team. We are reminded of this literally for
all
75 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, literally, there's a whole section of this movie that is just, how many times can we say Boston sucks? How many times can we say, let's go Yankees? Let's just keep going with that, because that's really entertaining, and everybody loves the Yankees, so everyone's going to enjoy this as part of a film of people on the subway train chanting, let's go Yankees, people on the street talking about the Yankees. There's posters everywhere that say Boston is worthy of hatred. It just goes on and on and on. I am not a baseball fan. I don't know if you can tell. I do not like baseball. My dad tried to get me interested in baseball as a kid, and it really backfired. And to this day, I just really resent people who want me to like baseball, because I don't. And apologize to you, viewer, if you're a baseball fan. Great for you. I always like to say, you tried, and I said no. I always say that the great thing about baseball is, even if you really dislike baseball, someone's going to tell you about it at length anyway. People just think it's their mission in life to come up and start talking to you about baseball. I don't want to hear it. So, that part of this film really annoyed me. Now, is that just me? Sure. I felt like anybody would think it was a little much, because it's just,
there was a lot of it that was a little much, because
it is a
like
central theme of this movie.
Nobody can restrain Spike Lee, right? So it's like you have all these great shots of downtown Brooklyn and Dumbo and the Brooklyn Bridge and Manhattan, and then we have some more shots of those, and then we have some more shots of those, and then we have some more shots of those. You know, like we have this. The point is the guy is on this whole thing is happening on the 4 train heading north, right? So it is happening on a home game day. Yankees fans are piling onto the game and starting to behave like, also not a Yankees fan, assholes, right? Like, that is atmospheric. That's actually also somewhat accurate. The chants are not accurate, but the behavior is somewhat accurate. And you show me that once or twice as an establishing thing, I'm right there with you.
But he's already got the whole Puerto Rican Day parade going on in the same scene.
Which also doesn't make any sense, because the Puerto Rican Day parade doesn't happen under the 4 train in the Bronx. The parade happens on 5th Avenue in Manhattan. So I'm sure there might be a party at whatever this park was that's under the 4 train, because I don't know the geography of the Bronx to tell you exactly where this park is. I'm sure there's a party there on the day of the Puerto Rican Day parade. Sure. But yeah, I mean, that it stretched believability there. But, again, you have this baseball thing as an establishing thing. Like, that's what people associate that subway stop with, right? I get that. There's going to be baseball people coming on. They make a little chant, like, whatever, and then it's done. But, like, it kept going back. It kept going back. It kept going back. Like, as sometimes, the joke is funny the first time, the joke is funny the second time. The 75th time, it's like, yeah, I know it's a joke.
So, also, yeah. So, I said the things I liked about this movie. I will say now the things I didn't like about it. I think that, so this movie is loosely based on Akira Kurosawa's movie High and Low. And you are reminded multiple times through the film that this is based on an Akira Kurosawa movie. This is partially a Kurosawa Films production.
Oh,
and
well, in the beginning of the movie,
there's a picture of the movie poster from High and Low in the credits.
Oh, in the credits, yeah. I was going to say, I didn't notice that in the movie.
No. That's one of the few things that doesn't get named specifically by a character in this movie.
Yeah.
This is one of those movies where literally people will say, well, have you tried the Ebony alert system? Let's talk for 5 minutes about what the Ebony alert system is, only to then have the cops say, well, yes, but that's not actually the law in New York State, so it doesn't actually apply to the situation.
And there's also a lot of product placement, right?
Yes.
So, it's an Apple movie, so iPhones are important in the plot. Beats headphones are important the plot. Yeah. Clearly Rivian paid to be in this movie. I've never seen a Rivian in real life, and in fact only heard of them maybe 2 months ago or 3 months ago.
Maybe Rolls Royce.
Maybe, but that's less surprising. Like, I've seen Rolls Royces in movies before, but and Steinway piano also very clearly.
Yes.
And so, like, when I'm always going to notice the product placement for like Apple in an Apple movie. But otherwise, when I notice it, it means that the movie is not interesting enough or they're lingering on the product placement too long, or a combination of the two. And that was kind of what was happening here.
You want to hear a total aside?
Yes.
It has nothing to do with this movie?
Yes.
So, it's been a long time since there's been a Friday the 13th movie. And so the horror community got very excited because they just released a short film featuring Jason Voorhees.
Okay.
And it was sponsored by Angry Orchard Cider.
Okay.
So throughout this movie, Jason is killing people with apples and apple cores and various apple tools. And and the characters are literally running through the woods for their lives holding bottles of Angry Orchard apple cider.
Okay.
It was so funny.
I hope for those actors' sake that at some point, they're like, Johnny Depp or something, where it's like in the future they get really famous for doing something else, and then somebody can go back and say, hey, here's how you started your career.
Maybe
and make a giggle. Because otherwise, that sounds like something that has no redeeming value. A sign of the decline of Western civilization.
The movie is also completely incoherent, although that does speak to the original Friday the 13th movies, which were also incoherent. Anyway, so back to Highest to Lowest. Okay, so like I said, it was based on the Akira Kurosawa movie High and Low, which actually, I just read is... the actual Japanese name is Heaven and Hell.
Oh, okay.
But it's always been released in America as High and Low, I think, for whatever reason. And that's based itself on an American police procedural novel from the 50s called King's Ransom. The almost nothing of the novel remains in this. The Kurosawa movie was a loose adaptation of the novel. The novel itself, I don't think anyone actually even reads it anymore. The Wikipedia article, the entirety of the Wikipedia article it's the basis for the Akira Kurosawa movie High and Low. But it is a police procedural, and the Akira Kurosawa movie is very much a police procedural. The police are the heroes of the story. They're the ones who solve the kidnapping, and they figure everything out.
That is not the case in this movie.
It's not the case in this one.
This
one, the police are shown as absolutely useless, and some of them are racist, and some of them are just dumb. Some of them are just tone deaf and can't handle people's grief. they're not violent. They're not like, Denzel Washington's character is a rich man, so they give him a great deal of respect. But that's never interrogated in this movie.
Yeah, anyone who's not him is given no respect by the police.
Yeah. So, which is interesting enough, but I think the thing I really disliked about this movie, and I really want to hear your opinion on this. So the Akira Kurosawa movie was a social realist document about post-war Japan and the economic boom that was making people rich, but then not everybody was getting rich. And that was the point of High and Low, was you had this man who was very rich, the executive of a shoe company, and you have the kidnapper who was a guy who worked at a hospital doing drudgery work. And it was the contrast between their lives, and it was the point. And that he was trying to make this very powerful statement about class in Japan during the economic miracle. And I think the movie is still a masterpiece because of that. There is an incredible bit at the end of the film where the two men, the kidnapper and the victim, are talking to each other in prison. The kidnapper's in prison and asked the shoe executive to come see him. And they have this conversation that just hammers at home the message, no, the rich people are going to be fine. Rich people will always be fine. They skate by through life, and the poor people are always going to suffer, and that's the way it works. And so it's this sort of like damning condemnation of the Japanese miracle, of this idea that the whole country was going to get rich after World War II on manufacturing. So this movie, Highest to Lowest, definitely has it has themes of class.
It has themes of class, but it's more in love with wealth.
Yeah.
It's like I found it striking. It felt like the first 15 minutes of the movie were all these visuals of Dumbo in downtown Brooklyn, which is just gigantic, like architecturally interesting, but gigantic, apartment buildings and things that cost umpteen bazillion matrillion dollars, right? As somebody who was priced out of that neighborhood, that's like everything that's gone wrong with Brooklyn, which to my mind, Spike Lee is someone who's actually invested in Brooklyn long before I lived in New York, right? Like, I would think he would see that as an abomination. And it's like he loves it. And Denzel Washington and his family live in one of those buildings and have an incredibly lushly beautiful apartment that is just constantly seen. And he has this Rivian, and he has a Rolls Royce, and he has all the these things, and he's this music impresario, right? Like, so he is enormously wealthy, and that is a good, right?
Yeah.
And
he's a self-made man.
He's a self-made man, and all of that. But
he worked very hard to get where he is. But there's this sense that his wealth is a reflection of his moral character.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but that his wealth is fundamentally a positive. He doesn't always use it appropriately. He might end up being, and he may be an asshole in order to get that wealth, but having that wealth in and of itself is a fundamentally good thing. And where I thought this movie was going to have, I don't think I can really go much farther without real spoilers. So
I don't think spoilers are an issue here. I think because it's an adaptation of a previous movie.
No, but
we'll mark it as spoilers. But we'll
need to mark it as spoilers because I kind of can't go farther with what I'm going to say without talking about what happened in the theater.
We do spoiler videos all the time.
I know, but you were dodging around it. So let me just say that's what I'm doing. So Jeffrey Wright plays this guy who is his driver, support guy, best guy, who has clearly been in prison, is marked as someone who's converted to Islam in prison, has a son who's basically Denzel Washington's son's best friend. And so there's this like imbalance between them, right? And so when the kidnapping happens, the cops treat the driver like shit, and they treat Denzel Washington with deference, and they treat him as a suspect. And they bring up the idea that, you know, this kidnapping has to be happening. Quite often these things happen with information from the inside or help from the inside, you know, and so see him as a suspect. So later in the movie, when Denzel Washington is the one that figures out who did the kidnapping, not the cops, not anybody else, he goes to ask, so Jeffrey Wright's kid in the end ends up getting kidnapped, not Denzel Washington's kid, as a mistaken identity.
The kidnapper mixes the two of them up.
They give the money. The kidnappers now have the money. They've let the Jeffrey Wright's kid go. Jeffrey Wright's kid like recognizes and has information to help Denzel Washington figure out who the actual kidnapper was. So we see, so Denzel Washington gets the kid to say, oh yes, this, I recognize this. So now they know the person's name. They know the rapper's rap name. And they need to then try and figure out where the rapper is. And so then you see this is a case of mistaken product placement, because what we see is Jeffrey Wright on an iPhone, right, texting, and me and almost everybody else in the theater.
The whole damn theater. Oh my God.
The entire theater thinks that what has just happened is that Jeffrey Wright is texting the rapper or someone connected to the rapper to say, Denzel Washington has just figured out who you are, watch out. What's actually happening is he's texting the streets to find out what the guy's name is and where to find him. The movie I thought that was about to happen, where there was a big ass double cross, and we had been thinking all along, like, these cops are being like super just obnoxious, and like, you know, Jeffrey Wright's got his back. No, Jeffrey Wright does not have his back, nor should he, because he's a big rich asshole, right? Like, that's where I'm going. That is not the movie. But almost everybody in that movie theater for a good 5 minutes was convinced that was what was happening. And I was so down for it. And that was...
It would have been interesting.
That would have been so interesting.
Yeah,
and it would have been
plot.
Inside Man-ish. But it was not. It was just totally wishful thinking among everyone in the theater.
That scene literally just allows them to jettison the police from the movie altogether.
You jettison the police, and you have an excuse to show another iPhone. Straight up close.
And an excuse to have Denzel Washington running around with a gun in...
Yes.
What neighborhood?
Somewhere in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Somewhere very close to Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Because they end up back at the 161st Street train station on the 4. So again, this is a person who doesn't live in the Bronx, whose only understanding of the Bronx is it must be near Yankee Stadium. That borough is so big. I know there's other shit there, even though I never go. Yeah. Anywho, but then that leads to the best scene in the movie, where you have Denzel Washington and A$AP Rocky, who is the kidnapper, confronting each other in an underground recording studio. Perfect dialogue, perfect moment, perfect visuals of where they are in this studio. So good. So good. How you could have made a movie, a 90 minutes of movie that good, I don't know. But yeah, I really wish that had been possible, because that was very good. And then the movie just kept going on after that.
Yeah, it's absolutely Spike Lee referencing the best scene in High and Low, which is that scene at the very end of the victim and the kidnapper talking in jail. But then he also does that as well.
Yes.
So we get another version of this scene.
Yeah. That's not as good.
That's not as good, and really just kind of drags on when you know where it's going, and it's just a chance for Denzel Washington to say one last fuck you. And that's the thing. I was talking about the class difference. So High and Low was all about this question about, this economic gulf. This movie, yeah, I think Spike Lee is a rich man.
Oh, he's
And
very rich, yeah.
So the rich man in this movie is sympathetic.
Yes.
To Spike Lee.
Yes.
Not to the audience.
Yes.
And that's the crazy disconnect of this movie.
I mean, I don't know if I think Denzel Washington is sympathetic to the audience.
Well, it's
because
Denzel Washington.
Because he's Denzel Washington,
Sure.
not because there's some love for the character. It's aspirational, right? Like, you want there to be, a black elite, right? Like, you want that to be a thing, but you also don't want to be. I don't know. I'm not the world's best capitalist, so I don't really want to be this particular guy.
So
I don't want to be David King.
Having Denzel Washington be this music impresario, this guy who has a record label, and he's always looking for new talent. So much of the movie is him being assailed by young people who want to sing for him or who want to talk about getting a record deal or whatever else. And it's positioned as like, this like hardship that he has to go through, that all these people like believe in him and they want his help. And in fact, that's the main motivation for the kidnapping.
Yep.
Is that A$AP Rocky's character desperately wanted to make a record with this David King character.
And see, I think what could have been a very interesting movie is exploring the insanity of, what do you call it? Those parasocial relationships, right? Because, A$AP Rocky is like, basically, I stalk everything about you on social media. And that's how I was able to do this, but also how I knew that I could, like, connect with you and you could make me famous and you could, make my music dreams real, right? Yeah. Like, and there's a really interesting thing to be said about, like, what social media does, right? Social media, in a way, flattens out class in some ways because it makes people, it flattens out and it exacerbates it, right? Like, I can see your incredibly lush house or your crazy vacation in a way that feels unmediated because you are carrying your phone around for your vacation in Mykonos or your, 2-story, like, gigantic apartment in Dumbo. Mm-hmm. But then, and I can see it along with everybody else. And so it feels very natural. And it feels like you've invited me into something, but yet I also see what you have that I never will, right? And if the movie were really interrogating that could have been really interesting. But it's like, he's an old guy who, like, isn't really, like, he constantly gets told that he doesn't understand how social media works and how the internet works.
But clearly Spike Lee is speaking in those moments where he's just like, social media is nothing. It means nothing.
Right.
It's just junk. It's poison. I don't even necessarily disagree with that. And yet this is a man who works in media who just has no interest in social media at all.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and he might not use it himself, but to understand it as a tool in his industry, that's not possible.
There's a great moment at the end that felt like something out of a Tom Wolfe novel or something, where A$AP Rocky is in prison, and his song has gotten like 1 billion downloads on Spotify because he's now famous for being a kidnapper.
The truest thing.
Not for being a rapper, but for being a kidnapper. And so he says to David King, "This is perfect. We can finally collaborate.
Yep.
You sign me as an artist on your label. We're going to make so much money, and the story is going to go crazy on Instagram. It's going to go crazy on TikTok."
Yeah.
And David King just laughs and he says, "Not interested."
Now I believe him not being interested.
Yeah, no, the character.
But that's the realest thing in this movie, right? I mean, look at what happened to how people are cosplaying as Luigi.
Yeah.
Right? Like, So yeah, no, were Luigi alive and a rapper? Like, yes, he would.
Luigi's alive.
No, he's not.
They didn't kill him.
Oh right, no, he is alive. My brain is what's not alive.
Okay.
My brain is
okay.
fucking dead. Anywho, he's still alive. That's fine, but he's not a rapper.
No.
So.
And he's not trying to sign a record deal.
I'm sure he would if he could. Anywho, the point is, yeah, I don't remember what the point was.
Okay.
This is really bad. This is hard for me to do.
I'm sorry. The point is that anything that might actually connect with 2025 in this movie is just thrown away. Like, Denzel Washington is living this 90s record label life. He's, like, still thinking, like, he's gonna, like, sign NWA and turn into the biggest music impresario in the world. And not have to worry about social media, not have to worry about what the public thinks of him and so on. And in fact, when he does something heroic and social media blows up in his favor, he seems like annoyed by it.
Well, he also figures that his son tells him, but what really makes it real for him is seeing the cover of the Daily News.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's what makes it real, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and it just didn't feel like a New York movie. It felt like there's so much New York flavor and atmosphere in this movie, and it just felt fake.
Because it was too much. It's because it was too much, right? Like, I actually was really surprised that any of this movie was supposed to be happening in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Like, why not just have the whole thing happen in Brooklyn, right?
Sure.
This guy lives in downtown Brooklyn. There are still people who are trying to get in the rap game that live in Brooklyn. Like, you could have had this whole thing happen in Brooklyn and show the class difference inside the borough.
Well, I think it's the highest to lowest, right? So
yes, the Bronx is a poorer borough than Brooklyn, but like
the Bronx. The joke, of course, is the Bronx is up and Brooklyn's down. But
I didn't even think.
Then
about
you
that.
go from the penthouse suite to the basement recording studio.
Yeah.
Which is it is absolutely played as heaven and hell. Like the Brooklyn penthouse is supposed to be this ideal Arcadian vision of wealth and luxury, and this underground recording studio is just a dismal hole, patrolled by Cerberus itself, the guardian of the underworld, which is just a pit bull on a chain. And then you have to pass through this red door into the absolute depths. There's some brilliant stuff in this movie that just doesn't get there.
It doesn't add up.
It doesn't climb up out of Spike Lee's asshole, which is where most of this movie lives. It is just like, I apologize for that thought and that image, but no, I think that's what this is. It's just he couldn't get over himself. And it's something I've been noticing in a lot of movies lately, and I think but the best distillation of it was in Naked Gun. When at the end of the new one, when at the end of Naked Gun, when Liam Neeson has saved the day, he says, "It is true. Old men are the smartest, most effective people around." And I just feel like
that's kind of the message of this movie.
Yeah, young people are dumb. Young people are dumb. The sons are stupid, and that's how they get kidnapped, because they're dumb, because they were sneaking out of basketball camp to go get chopped cheese. And women are absolutely useless. Denzel Washington's wife is just an appendage because she's pretty, and A$AP Rocky's wife gives him up because she's starstruck.
Yep.
And then the only other women in the movie there's one female detective on the police who's like the only good cop, but
the only smart cop. She went to Spelman.
And we're very careful to spell that out. But the only other women in the movie after that are 3 dancers in A$AP Rocky's music video who literally, they are turned away from the camera so you never see their faces. You just see their butts.
You see their faces briefly at the end of the music
Okay,
video
fair.
sequence that really I don't know why was there. And we see Ice Spice briefly in this movie, just as a girl who happens to be at David King's
She's like
office.
his secretary or something.
She's not the secretary, but she looks like she's working in the office, like a new worker in the office, not someone who's trying to get a record deal.
Yeah.
I'm like, you put Ice Spice in this movie and you don't have her do something vaguely musical? Why? I don't know. Anywho.
So, highest to lowest. There did not get our seal of approval, unfortunately.
You know, it's, yeah, but Denzel Washington in this movie is very, very good.
He's Denzel Washington, of course he is. Although I felt, we saw, is it Fences, the one where he's a garbage man?
Yeah, the August Wilson play.
The August Wilson play, which they made into a movie with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's playing that same character.
No.
The angry dad.
Well, yeah, the angry dad, but I mean, like, no, it's not the same character because that character is frustrated.
Yeah.
Like, he is frustrated by life. Because life has constrained him. This character is someone who has not been constrained. This feels like the first real constraints on his life are happening in this movie, right? Like, his life up to this point has been the opposite.
Fair.
So it's like he's, you know, sure, he's like a stern dad, like, and there's stern dad elements, stern dad behavior in this movie. But no, it's a very different character, right? This is a man who's used to having power, and this is the first time where he feels powerless.
He also feels like Denzel Washington in Training Day.
Which I have not seen.
It's a lot of that, ooh, I'm the biggest man, and I'm going to get what I want because I'm so charming, and ooh, look at me. Look how charming I am. You can't say no to me, and I'm the biggest thing that's been ever been.
That's true.
There's a lot, okay. Anyway, I felt like this movie was like Denzel Washington's greatest hits.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was bringing anything truly new to this character.
No, that wasn't needed.
And I did not believe that he cared one bit about music.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that really mattered to the movie, to be honest.
That's fair. Anyway, Jeffrey Wright is fantastic.
He was given some of the best lines in the movie.
He's given the funniest lines in the movie.
He's given some of the best lines in the movie.
Oh my God, there's a not quite a recurring joke, but a two-part joke that is just
perfect.
So perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then, you know, everybody else is just stock footage.
Yep.
And that's fine.
Yep.
Okay. There you go. Yes, it's our longest video ever, sure. So let's cut it off there.
Alrighty.
We'll say until next time.
Until next time. There will be a next time.
Bye, folks.
Bye.